Hello everyone, I'm Daniel from IGN and I'm joined by Alex today. Now, it was only announced a couple of days ago, but we've already got our sticky little mitts all over the Nintendo 2DS. And in that time-honoured tradition, we're going to take it out of its box.
Now, important to note that this is the red and white version, which is exclusive to Europe, which is very exciting indeed.
So the American exclusive, North American exclusive is red and black.
Yep.
And both territories get blue and black.
Yep.
So shall we dive in?
Let's see what's inside.
Da, 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 da.
So, first thing to note, you get a power supply, which you never got with the 3DS XL, so plus 1 point to Nintendo.
Here are your standard kind of AR cards and manuals. But that's not the interesting stuff. It's not the really interesting stuff, is it, Alex?
Well, hopefully the console itself.
Yeah, hopefully
really
it's in there.
thing.
I know we've been gypped. I think this is too hard for 5-year-olds. Okay, here we go.
So there it is.
This is the white version, and let's take it out of its wrapper. So there you go, that is the 2DS.
So the first thing I would say is it's a lot smaller than I thought it was going to be.
I actually think it feels really, really compact. So should we just walk you around the console?
Yeah.
So at the top, you've got obviously the cartridge slot. You've got your power adapter input. You've got the shoulder buttons, which are actually much more like a console controller, I think, compared to the very narrow ones you get on the 3DS or XL. Around the front, you've got your speaker. Important to note that the 2DS only outputs in mono. Stereo you can get with headphones, but it's only mono. Another important feature is the sleep button. Now, because the 2DS doesn't fold, it doesn't have the clamshell design, to put it into sleep mode, not switch it off, you're going to have to use a switch. And now it's a pretty robust switch, like you wouldn't flick that accidentally.
You're not going to flick that on and off. The other thing to kind of note is obviously it's a single screen now, although it doesn't actually look much different from the 3DS, the old 3DS, because the screen sizes are exactly the same.
They're exactly the same. I think some people were kind of, I don't know, dismayed that it wasn't slightly angled and found it weird looking down at both screens at once. But I don't think it feels that unnatural.
No, I think it feels perfectly fine. And you know, to actually hold, as you say, it feels very balanced. It doesn't feel really, really chunky. That was my main concern. It's still not going to fit in your pocket, quite frankly, and there is a concern that if you do shove it in a bag or whatever, the screens could get scratched.
But this device is for 5, 6, 7-year-olds. That's what Reggie said, and you know what? It feels like that. The build quality, I think, is much better than the 3DS. It feels really kind of strong and sturdy. It's got a tapered design, but I can imagine this going in a backpack, not in a pocket. And I think that's what it's designed for. A few more features just to point out. You've got your sleep button there, home button at the bottom, again the same, but the stylus is in the middle of the console around the back there.
And then, did you already point out that we've got the cameras? So you've got one camera on the front, but then you've got the 3D cameras on the back, which I think is a little bit odd.
The 3D cameras is a little bit strange, which means it can still take stereoscopic pictures. Presumably that's because then you can then share them
with your mates who've already got
3DSs.
So in terms of battery life, it's pretty much the same as the 3DS already. It's slightly less than the 3DS XL, but obviously that's larger, the battery's bigger. Obviously uses the same 3DS games and DS games. Comes with a 4 gig SD card.
Yeah, it does indeed.
Which is the same as the 3DS XL. The 3DS, the original 3DS, only has a 2 gig. So
actually, just noticed the slot for that is very robust as well. Again, continuing the build quality.
Yeah. So let's
really solid.
Let's line it up against some of the existing consoles.
Actually, before we do that, do you want to have a little look at that?
So there's the blue one. This is the one that's standard across both the US and Europe. I actually prefer the red and white one myself.
Yeah, sorry about that, America.
But so, there you go, those are the two 2DS XLs.
So, what do you want to do first? I think it makes sense to do the original 3DS.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's move that out of shot, and so
the screen sizes,
when open,
screen sizes are exactly the same on both consoles.
But when laid flat, the 2DS is actually smaller.
It's supposed to be slightly heavier, but it's like literally grams. Like
if anything, I feel the 2DS feels lighter. I don't know whether that's because it's maybe possibly spread over a bigger area, so there's less pressure, but it definitely feels lighter.
It's more balanced. Up alongside the PlayStation Vita, obviously the screen size on the Vita is much, much bigger. It's a different setup really. This is obviously designed for kind of people who want the home console gaming experience on the go, whereas, you know, as Reggie said, that is a kid's machine, and I could easily see my 3-year-old going for something like that, and there's no danger of her pulling the top off or breaking it. It's a lot sturdier than the existing console.
Okay, now let's go to the other end of the 3DS family. This is the big boy, the 3DS XL. This is the one I own, and this is obviously for a slightly different demographic. It's much bigger. The screens are much bigger, 90% bigger. It is heavier. I just think they're tailored for very different audiences, and that's clear to me. So there you go. That's the 3DS XL next to it. So that was the unboxing of the 2DS. It launches in North America and Europe on October 12th, the same day as Pokemon X and Y. In North America, it RRPs at $129.99, and in England, it's about 110 quid.
Yep. So for everything else on 2DS, keep it locked on IGN.